live right now, or are we waiting? Oh,
Greetings,
we're
off of Planet Olympus. I am Hercules tonight with a special presentation led by Torchbearer Paul Dale Roberts. So I hand the baton over to Paul Dale Roberts.
Well, thank you, Hercules. We got a great guest. I'm going to talk about him in just a minute. But right now, I'm going to have the panel go ahead and introduce themselves to the guests. So, first off, I'll start off. My name is Paul Dale Roberts. I'm an author, former paranormal investigator, no longer a paranormal investigator, got tired chasing ghosts. And I write books, and I'll also tell I write articles for various magazines. So that's who I am. Donny, go ahead and tell Greg who you are. And
I'm just a random guy on YouTube with his own channel. It's pretty small, but it's a lot of different stuff, pop culture, paranormal, cryptids, some comedy here and there. And yeah, I've got a lot of friends in this field and I'm all about it.
right on, Donny. Hercules.
I am Hercules Invictus, as stated a few minutes ago, and I'm an investigator, I'm an author, I'm a curious individual wending their way through life and exploring cosmic mysteries in the process.
Sounds good. Tim.
Well, hi, I'm Tim Swartz, and I have nothing to do with any of this. I just accidentally clicked on the wrong link, and now I'm in this show. So, sorry about that, guys. No, as anybody who watches these shows should know, I am a long-time researcher of the weird and wonderful, author, books, magazine articles, television appearances, you name it. And I am the originator, along with Timothy Green Beckley, of the whole conspiracy journal thing, which we'll be talking about tonight.
And Tim, can you tell us all about the guest?
Well, I'll do the best I can. I'm actually going to leave that really up to him, but I will introduce him. His name is Greg Palka, and he is the new blood for Conspiracy Journal. Timothy Green Beckley and I started Conspiracy Journal more than 25 years ago. Believe it or not. And after Mr. Beckley passed away, it got to be kind of difficult for me to try to carry it on by myself. I mean, it really, it was more than one person could handle. So I am so happy that Tim Beckley's niece, Michelle, has decided to bring Conspiracy Journal back, bring back the whole global communications back, and helping her is Greg, who is now, and Greg, you'll have to correct me if I get these terms wrong, he is the webmaster of Conspiracy Journal, handles the social media, and all kinds of different things. So Greg, thank you for being with us tonight. It's really a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. This is fantastic. I'm really looking forward to kind of just, I don't know, talking about what I've been doing with Conspiracy Journal. And if you want to jump into anything weird, that's kind of my, that's what I love to do. So,
Oh no, we hate weird stuff on this show.
Both people involved in the show, as well as Michelle, and how about Carol?
yeah, Carol's still around. I think she's more or less, I guess, in the same arena as Tim at this point. But Carol is there. Maria's still around. And yeah, we actually just had our like holiday dinner over the weekend, and I actually got to meet everybody. And like Carol and Maria are fantastic people. I
Yeah,
love them.
They are.
And Greg, this conspiracy journal, okay, Tim was saying it's been around since what, 25 years?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's
Now,
we started it. Beckley had that name. he may have put out like a little newsletter even before I got involved with him. It was I mean he did what was called UFO Review, which was a like a little magazine newspaper type of thing. And at one point he had like UFO Review Conspiracy Journal when he was wanting to bring in a little bit more conspiracy stuff. But then later, when I got involved with him, this would have probably been, like 1996. And we were trying to come up with a name for the website. I had learned a little HTML, just enough to be dangerous. And Beckley knew nothing about this. So I said, well, I can try putting a website together, but we'll need a name. So we picked a conspiracy journal. And in fact, if you go and I think it remains the original website is like UFOreview.com, but we had it so that it actually would go to the site Conspiracy Journal if you type that in. But yeah, it's been around that long, and I'm really happy that we have Greg to bring in this new generation because I mean, face it, when we started Conspiracy Journal, social media wasn't a thing, and progress marches on, and so I mean, we need people like Greg that have an interest in the subject and are willing and able to bring in this new audience, bring in other people who are interested in the subject, but maybe really didn't know where to go. So you have Conspiracy Journal, not only the website, but you have, it's on Instagram, places like that, and it's a beautiful thing.
I'm all for
Okay.
change and evolution, but part of the charm of the Conspiracy Journal was the retro feel to it all. Like I have a whole stack of conspiracy journals on that were paper printed, and I value them because of that. They're fossils of an earlier epoch, an epoch where I started becoming active, and that motivated me to be part of the field. How much of the retro are you keeping, and how much has the concept for the conspiracy journal changed?
Um, we're trying to keep it as original as possible. So like when Michelle asked me on, I'm a designer and creative director by trade, and I actually made a joke that I had to kind of unlearn all of my design skills because she wanted to put out issue 52, and I was on board when she asked me, like, she knows that I was into conspiracies, and like I was always bringing it up on jobs that we worked together. And so when she asked me if I wanted to be part of this, of course I jumped on it. And then she's like, okay, well, I want to try to like not stray too far away from the way things were, like kind of in the last rounds. And she loves the aesthetic of all of that. And I do too. Um, and then it was just a matter of trying to keep that same vibe of everything. But I want to start to update it a little bit. So the website is definitely like a refresh. And then the actual printed copy is still mimicking like the older ones that people are so fond of and used to. Um, but yeah, no, it's been fun. But like I said, I had to kind of like unlearn some design skills in order to put that together because it was all over the place. But it was like it's what gave it its aesthetic though. It's like it's what made it like interesting and fun. So it was cool. And then like I'm really looking forward to just continuing that on for sure.
Yeah, I will. I'll jump in here and I'll say that the printed Conspiracy Journal catalog, which is a list of books and products, and usually some articles of global communication products, and it was originally designed by a guy from California who was using. Oh gosh, I can't remember now. It's some kind of like Apple. Um, what would that be? Whatever Apple uses for magazine and book design. And his version, I think it was like version 2000 or something like that. But that guy, I mean, he was older than me. So, I mean, and he never wanted to get an updated version. So I think that's one of the reasons why the catalog has that kind of unique retro look to it.
I like also the ads in it, even though I never sent away for any of the actual objects that were in the ads. The ads reminded me of the ads that you find in the back of a comic book, but on steroids.
Oh yeah.
That you could send away for less than $29.95. They can do all these amazing things, and I always love looking through them.
I'm actually on your website right now. I'm looking at, man, I am loving your cover arts, by the way. Like, man, these all look so good. Who
Yeah,
does the artwork?
it depends. I did a lot of the cover for the books,
Uh-huh.
and then that other guy from California did some of them as well. And I I don't want to disparage somebody, but unfortunately, the other designer had a tendency maybe to steal graphics from other people and use
Oh.
them. I hated that, and I always warned Beckley, to be careful of that because it could come back and bite him
Hmm.
on the butt. And shortly after he died, I got an email from a lady from, I think it was Russia, who had a painting of Nikola Tesla that had been used as the cover of one of these books. And I didn't really have that much access
Hmm.
uh, to this, so the best I could promise her is that I just took it completely out of for sale,
Hmm.
and just mothballed it. That was the best I could do. But that's an example. I'll warn anybody who gets into this field and wants to do stuff like this. Do your own work. Do original work. Don't go and cobble material from other people because it will come back.
Hmm.
Even if it's just small sections, like if there's like something that you just clipped out of something to like add to something else, like it's people still find it. It's interesting like how like people can sleuth some things. I've
Oh
had
yeah.
things like not that didn't go to publishing, but it was more of like a an artwork and it was like a mock-up essentially of it was like a proof of concept almost. And
Hmm.
I had it online and it was up for like maybe a year. And then someone got in touch with me and be like, "Hey, like this is my photo." And I didn't even realize it was still online. It just went to a client and it was just to kind of like build out a concept. And yeah, they were able to find it and of course I took it down. But yeah, it's
Hmm.
pretty incredible like how quickly people can find their stuff and 100% will be in touch to let you know.
Holy
Well,
cow! I just
even
oh,
Well, I was just going to say really quick, even material that supposedly is copyright free may not necessarily be, because very early on, Beckley had used a picture that was taken from supposedly a copyright free CD of graphic
Hmm.
images, and it was of a clown. And he used it in some capacity. I don't remember exactly what it was, whether or not it was, I don't think it was online. It may have been like on one of his books. And then the guy, the actual clown himself, wrote Beckley and said, "Hey, I didn't give you permission to use my picture." And Beckley was like, "This was on this CD." And he's like, "Ah." So, you got to be careful.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I just went to the website and yeah, the graphics is incredible. Um, so you're now working on issue 52. Well, it's already out there. So me, let's say being brand new, going into the website, I'm able to get all 52 issues from that website.
No, well, the past issues, we are starting to put together an archive of like at least as much as we can find, because there are some like I have a few here even of past issues, but it is pretty difficult to find like all of them and just find copies of them all.
Mm,
But what we're trying to do is build an archive of those things, but also just keep it going. It's just 52's out. We're talking about what 53 is going to look like, but also like how we're going to evolve it. And we're going to we're talking about building it out to be more than just essentially a catalog at this point. Because even the website
mm,
itself is essentially just a store. And we have plans to essentially make it more of like a news source, an article source. You can, if we have merch or things like that, and like actually have it as kind of a resource for people rather than just instead of just a bookstore essentially. So
mm.
we're planning a lot of things. And during our last, like our holiday meeting, we had like our little get together and meeting about what the future of Conspiracy Journal is going to look like. And we do have a lot of great things coming in. Uh, we've even started this one thing. It started on Instagram and it's just called Strange Exchange. And it's a phone number for people to call in if they have personal stories of anything paranormal, alien abductions, ghost stories, you name it. And it just gives, I think it's in the spirit of what Tim used to do as well, of just giving people a voice who wouldn't normally otherwise have one, or like
Mm.
a place for people to sound crazy. Like that it's the best way to put it because like everyone's labeled that at some point in their life. Like that's crazy. You're crazy. That doesn't make any sense. Like especially in the conspiracy world. But it's just it's less about whether or not you believe it, but this person does. And this person has thoughts about it and like has really
Mm.
dove down those wild rabbit holes to like research it and figure this stuff out. And a lot of times people just need a place to feel recognized. They're just like like if I was abducted and like I tried to explain that to anybody, like no one's gonna listen. You're just immediately dismissed. And like who's to say that that person's reality did not experience that? Who would I be like, "Oh, that's crazy. That didn't happen to you." It's like, "Of course it did." Anyone that's ever had a deep psychedelic experience cannot explain what that experience is to anybody, but it's reality to you. So to say like to give someone a platform or at least a little bit of an area and just a few minutes of time just to explain what has happened to them in their life is like incredibly important. And I think definitely carries that torch of what Tim Beckley was putting together. It's just we want to hear it. We just want to hear what it is. And then the site soon will have the Strange Exchange, but it'll like you can write in your story. Part of that too is going to be archived stories of people, their experiences. And now we're talking about building out our own podcast where we can talk about these things. We can talk about older books, just things that are happening in the news as of late, and then also telling those stories from people that didn't necessarily have a way to tell it outside of sounding anonymous or just sending it into someone.
Yeah, that was going to be my first question actually, was going to be, have you guys thought about doing a podcast? Because it seems so perfect. You've got you've got all this material to feed off of in terms of content and things to present to the audience. You know, you can direct them to the website, you could direct them to the publication. Um, it just seems like it would be such a good like companion show for the material that you already have out there. I'm kind of surprised you guys haven't started it earlier, honestly.
This is actually just still kind of in its infancy.
Yeah,
So, I got involved. Well, Michelle asked me, I guess, just under a year.
yeah.
So it's probably been about 8, 9 months since we've started revamping all of this.
Also, I think that's such a perfect name for like a show, the Conspiracy Journal podcast. I don't
Yeah,
know, it's got a nice ring to it.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, Beckley and I, for years, we had a show on what was it, KTLA, KTLR,
Hmm.
digital network out of Las Vegas that we first tried to call it Conspiracy Journal,
Hmm.
but the lady who ran this network ran into problems. She was getting
Mm.
pushback from various sources about, and probably the same reason that you get pushback from, other media sources, social media
Hmm.
sources, about the name Conspiracy Journal. I think it's the name conspiracy that the bots or the algorithms go crazy about. So we could not use that title.
Was
Maybe
that
talk
terrestrial
trainers.
radio?
It no, it was a digital radio
Oh,
network.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
It might be a bit different if you just do like YouTube and like those channels, and
Now
it might be different, but
YouTube gets very coolly about using
yeah.
words.
Yeah.
Greg, you're talking about also too archiving some of the back issues and everything else. Um, I had a newsletter called the People's Comic Book Newsletter, and I think I did about 150 issues. All 150 issues are at Bowling Green University Special Collections, and it's also in other special collections at other university libraries. Have you thought about taking the Conspiracy Journal, taking all the issues and archiving them at one of these special collection libraries?
That's a great idea. That's going to be a Michelle answer. She's been essentially archiving, and I forget the who she sent it out to, but there's a ufologist archivist that she sent essentially all of Tim Beckley's materials to. After
Dave
Tim,
Marler. Dave
Dave
Marler.
Marler.
Yeah, he's in Albuquerque.
So I'm sure a good chunk of it's already there, and but yeah, to your point, that'd be great to have it kind of separated across a bunch of places or just a few.
Well, and the Conspiracy Journal newsletter, which I put out every week for years, I think we were up to like maybe 400 or 500 weekly editions of that, which I think a lot of it is still archived on the website somewhere, unless the bandwidth has exploded at this point. They had to drop it all. But a lot of those. Email newsletters were archived by gosh, I can never remember how to pronounce his name. But anyway, he's a Swedish UFO investigator who has a pretty big UFO archive himself, and he would save every single weekly issue of the Conspiracy Journal newsletter, which was, I mean, it was a weekly aggregate of all the interesting stories from the week, UFOs, ghosts, things like that.
Uh, Tim, uh, are the conspiracy journals also too archived at the Internet Archive?
I doubt it. I doubt it. Unless the Wayback Machine has saved them over the years. I mean, I didn't know about the Internet Archive until later. So they probably the individual weekly email issues probably not.
Okay. Greg, I write articles about once a week for various magazines and everything else. I have a mailing list. I'm going to add you on to my mailing list because I basically write ghost stories, UFO stories, like I said, once a week. So anything you want to use for the Conspiracy Journal, please free to.
Great. No, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
That's like I said, moving forward, we definitely want to be essentially not just publishing books, which obviously is like a big part of Conspiracy Journal, but yeah, getting back to like weekly like updates, essentially making a news source for things that are happening. Like everything that's happening today is so wild in terms of like quote unquote conspiracy.
Hmm.
Just between Epstein and then UFOs a couple years ago, and just everything just kind of coming to the forefront of our like, I don't know, just our culture has kind of become mainstream in a way. Like somehow UFOs and like they're talking about it on the news. We have reports from high level military just coming out and before Congress saying, yeah, it's all real. Like, and no one
Yeah,
says anything.
you guys need
No
to be
one's
careful
batting an
because
eye at any of it. It's kind of wild.
you guys have to watch out because you're running out of conspiracies because they're all coming true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greg,
It's funny. Michelle and I had this conversation when we were starting, when we were first getting into this and talking about how to market it and like all the ideas that we could possibly do. And the one thing that I kept thinking about was like, it's going to be hard because it's not just that like there are so many channels now or podcasts or
Hmm.
outlets for this. It's that it's not fringe anymore. That a
Right.
lot of this is like so oddly mainstream that it's just
It's
okay,
oversaturated
yeah,
now. Yeah.
yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
whatever. Like
Yeah.
what are all of these things flying over New Jersey? And it's
Yeah.
just like, no one cares. Like what? Like how is this a thing?
But no, because of what you said earlier, that people are accused of being crazy, there are lots of people who find these platforms useful because they can share their experiences with people who've had similar experiences and will listen to what they have to say. Before the era of podcasts, I used to start local associations. Like in Pennsylvania, I had the Regional Folklore Society of Northeastern Pennsylvania. When we first moved to northeastern New Jersey, we had the Center for the Study of Living Myth, with names like that. They were kind of like open, and people found the greatest value in being able to go somewhere and hear other people talk about stuff that when they talked about it, their friends and relatives told them they're crazy and didn't want to listen to it. So here you have other people who are experiencing crazy things, and they could hear other people reinforce the reality that they were experiencing that nobody else would reinforce. So I think there'll always be a platform or place for people to get that type of comfort.
Yeah, especially having a community of people that don't think you are crazy is very important. Like I was just at when was this? This was in August or early September. I forget the actual day. Um, but it was a paranormal symposium in Gettysburg. And I went down there and met a lot of great people. And it was interesting because there was kind of a little bit of a round table, so to say. So people, it was less about the speaker, and the speaker just wanted to hear from everybody. And then when one person spoke up, it like opened the floodgates for others to actually give their story. And like it is important that just like, oh yeah, people have been experiencing these things their entire life, and it's now good to know that like, oh yeah, there are other people experiencing this same exact things. One story that like I remember very specifically because it was something that happened to me. Like, and it was a woman just started talking about sleep paralysis and like the demon, like the shadowy figures that always show up for people during sleep paralysis.
Mhm.
shadow people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, and it was great to hear that because I had the same experience. And it was like little differences here and there, but like for the most part, it was the same story. And then, like, if you go online and like you research this, it's just like everyone's had this similar story and it's fascinating. And yeah, it's just good to hear people like open up about that.
Greg, you sound like you're talking about the old hag syndrome.
Old hag, yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Almost.
That's essentially that's pretty much what it was for me. This woman had like the I think she experienced Hat Man.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I had man. Yeah. Well,
uh
I actually did a podcast with Heidi Hollis,
Yes.
and supposedly she's the one that came up with the name Shadow People.
Mhm.
Well,
okay.
people were they're based on the jinn. I'm Greek from a small island that was near Turkey and under Turkish occupation for 400 years. The yes, which is what shadow people means, were description of the jinn essentially. And after years of talking publicly, the most often repeated story that people come up with me after the talks to share with me is about night hag type experience, incubus, succubus, uh, sleep paralysis type of stories. Those are the most common I've heard over the years.
Hmm.
Greg, you've
Uh,
been. Oh, I'm sorry, Tim.
well, I was just going to point out that Greg, in his own right, is a writer himself and has a couple of books that he has written. Do you want to talk about those, Greg?
Sure. Yeah, I like to try to keep my personal and like professional life separate from like my writing. So I use a pen name. It is Kai Larson. If you want to, you could find all of my books on Conspiracy Journal. They're all available on Amazon as well. But yeah, no, like so like the topics that I would go through is that my first was called Gray Skies, and it's just a UFO book, and it's very short, but it's just kind of cataloging more recent things. So like those things over New Jersey, like what were they? And like essentially breaking down the news cycle of like how fast it came in, how fast it goes out. And like the tic tac and all like a lot of the more current stories of UFOs that are in the media these days.
Hmm.
My second was a little bit longer. It's called Wings Before the Fall, and that was kind of a recount of the Mothman story, and then all of the other Mothman sightings that people kind of don't know about, surprisingly.
How
And
about the Sacramento Mothman?
the Sacramento Mothman.
Yeah, it happened in
And
2009.
Yeah,
ooh,
they got one in Chicago too. I keep
Yeah.
hearing about.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There was one at
lots.
Fukushima as well, right
Yes.
before. Yeah. So like it's just fascinating that like obviously the Point Pleasant story is like the original and like the most well known thanks to the awesome movie with
Hmm.
Richard Gere. But yeah, there are just stories like that like have happened since what that was in '66, and there's been a dozen other stories of
Hmm.
Mothman sightings, and it's always happens before some tragic event, and it's curious if anything, and then it's the same story of the Men in Black showing up,
Hmm.
telling people they didn't see anything and they need to shut up, and the story kind of gets buried and goes away. And yeah, it's so fascinating, like how all of those things just continue to happen. I guess it would be good to announce now, like I just finished and is currently for sale. It's Resonant State. Resonant State
Hmm.
is essentially a quick history, not even quick, it kind of dives into a lot, but of just government mind control and dating all the way back to MK Ultra up through current day with very finely tuned algorithms that keep
Hmm.
people upset in very odd ways and essentially just turning people into drones and like how people don't think for themselves anymore. There's people are so easily controllable these days.
Hmm.
And it all has to do with the little black mirror that they stare into every day. And it's an interesting little history lesson. And a lot in all of this too, like it's not just concepts I'm coming up with or like uh just ideas and like all of this is documented. Like like all of this is just it's out there to be found. So much of it's declassified at this point. Like even the idea of uh like chemtrails. Like even chemtrails today, people are saying like, yeah, we've been doing that for years. And like, but for the longest time, they've like always just told us that it's just a conspiracy theory and no one's spraying the air with chemicals. And it's like, they have been. And like, what is it that they're doing? And like, is it weather control? Is it testing different chemicals on people? Like, as long like give us some information. Now that you're telling us that like you have been doing it, just tell us what's been going on. And but yeah, so it's a brief history of all of these programs dating back to MK Ultra up to today, and just how ingrained it is and how good they got at it. And it's just an interesting little look into what is actually happening. And it's kind of terrifying. And like using sound frequencies to control people, and everyone like using sonic weapons. Like all of these things were just conspiracy for the longest time. But there's people have videos now. People like you have a phone that can like record everything. And people have been. And these weapons that are being used, it's just like it's not just sound frequency that like, oh, like I listened to a song and it made me want to do something. It's like not subliminal like that. It's like actually causing devastation to people's bodies. And it's just being pumped into the air. And it's all recorded. And all of these programs exist and we've paid for them with taxpayer dollars, and we don't know they exist, or if we do know, we're just told it's probably for our safety. It's and it's like, okay, that's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah, it's for our safety. Uh-huh. Yep.
Not your safety, our safety. All of us rich oligarchs. I mean, we need to be safe from the rest of you. So,
Yeah.
and we're going to use all this against you.
And you can see the passion that Greg has for the conspiracy journal. That sounds exciting. And like the newer conspiracy journals that will be coming out, will I find things like the Epstein files or the New Jersey drone scare, UFO disclosure possibly, or Phoenix Lights? Will I find stuff like that in there?
Yeah, of course. A lot of again, like we're not going to move the journal itself into a completely new area. So a lot of it's still going to be books on all of these topics. Everything that Tim Beckley published, as well as now his niece Michelle is now taking the reins of that and publishing herself and getting these other books out. But yeah, like it's everything happens so fast now, though. It's it's hard. Even when I was putting my books together, I was like, I can't. Something new came out the next day, and I was like, oh, this would have been great to put into this, but it's already it's there's always something new happening. Uh, but yeah, no, everything that you're mentioning will definitely continue to be part of the Conspiracy Journal.
That's fantastic. Greg, I got the signal to start winding it up. How can people contact you?
If you want to reach out, we're on Instagram at conspiracy.journal. You'll find everything that's kind of not modern, but everything kind of recent things and like recent stories of things that are happening. Like Epstein files are involved there, as well as like UFO sightings, cryptid sightings. Uh, if you want to reach out to me personally, you can reach me at greg@conspiracyjournal.com. And I'd love to chat with anybody. And if you have any of your own stories, we would love to kind of just get get it on a recording. Like we have our call line set up. And if you don't mind, I can give that here.
Sure.
Yeah, go
Go ahead.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, it's the Strange Exchange. It's 929-445-3705. And you can just call, and I think we're currently right now limited to about 3 minutes. But if you just want to, if it's a much longer story or you have a lot to say, you can call back and we'll edit it together to tell the full story, and everyone will at least be able to hear what it is that you have to say.
Awesome.
That's fantastic. Hercules, I'm going to send over the torch to you.
I received the torch. If everybody else would like to share the contact information, that would be great. We'll start with Donnie.
Just reach out to me, Donny Cho, on Facebook, and Donny Cho Says Stuff is the name of my channel on YouTube. And yeah, check it out.
Thank you. Then we'll go to Tim.
Yeah, you can find all of my books not only on Amazon.com, but at the Conspiracy Journal website as well. On Amazon, just type in my name, Tim R. Swartz, and they'll all come tumbling out for your reading pleasure. Our most recent book is called Weird Time, Exploring the Mysteries of Time and Space, and Hercules and Paul have excellent chapters in this book, and it has its own website, which is weirdtimebook.com.
Awesome. And
I do want to say one more thing too about
Yeah,
the latest book, Resonant State. Tim was actually very gracious enough to write the foreword for it, and so I'd like to thank him for that as well. But yeah, it would be great if you guys want to pick it up. It is kind of just an unsettling truth about human thoughts and how they're being manipulated to the point where we're not even aware that it's happening.
And on that note, I would like to interview you on that book because I was planning the first quarter of 2026, and mind control is one of the subjects I want to have podcasts on. So I'd love to interview you about that.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'd love it.
So I'd like to thank everybody. This was a great treat. I wish you success in your new venture, and I know we'll all be involved in some way or another. And to everybody else who's gathered here tonight, thank you very much. I want to wish everybody a happy holiday and joyous journeys and amazing adventures. Good night, everybody. And say hi to Michelle and Dory and Maria and everybody else from me.
Will do. Thank you guys for having me on.
Thank you,
guys.
Greg.
Yep.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.